Here we are in Camtasia 2020, and I'm going to show you how to add a Camtasia stock intro to a video. First thing we're going to do is put a video on the timeline. We've got it up here in the media bin. I'm going to right click on it and say add to timeline at playhead, and of course playhead's at the beginning, and so there it is at the beginning. Now we're going to look at the stock intros in Camtasia, and these are in the library. Now I can either do my R key on a PC or just click on the library. Now here in the library, up here you've got a drop down that says you've got your own personal libraries down here, or you can have the Camtasia library here, which I've got showing right now. And this is the Camtasia library, and you don't usually have it start up with all the folders open. You can see what we have here are, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit and see it a little bit closer. You can see we've got icons, we've got intros, which we're going to do in a second. We've got lower thirds. You can play with those just like the intro. You've got some motion backgrounds, which are really, let me just show you one of those right now. Motion backgrounds. Let me go back to full screen here, and I'm just going to pick one at random. I'm going to double click on it, and you can see it previews. And there's that motion background, which if you have a talking head against a green screen, you can have this behind them. Okay, that's a motion background. Let's close that one, and we've got, what else do we have here? Let's zoom it in. Oh, they've got some music tracks that you can add, and they've got some outros that you can also add. But we're going to add an intro. So let's go ahead and drop down the intro. I do believe the intro I want is this one right here. Maybe. Let's double click on it and watch what happens. That's it exactly. That's the one I want. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag that intro onto the track above the active track and take it right to 0. We can then take the track below it and drag it to the right until we see the synchronized bar. There it is. And we can now take the intro and drag it down to the main track. So we know they're abutted to each other right here. Now all we're going to do is edit that intro so that it says what we want it to say here, where it says your text presents your title here, your, what does that say?
Tagline.
Your tagline. To edit those, you simply click on the plus right here, and that opens up the entire group. And you can now edit the individual elements of the group. Notice the two-headed arrow. I can drag it like that. Now I can see all of these. I'm going to drag it back down a little bit so because I want this preview to be as big as I can see it. Now, what do we want on the top line? It will probably be Lions Club of Mississippi, and in the middle line, it's going to say Mike Flint, and in the bottom line, it will say Executive Director. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to click on this element right here, and we see that's the bottom line. So I'm going to go ahead and double click 1, 2 on that bottom line, and that we want that to say Executive Director. E-X-E-C-U-T-I-V-E space D-I-R-E-C-T-O-R. Executive Director. Good. Now let's go ahead and click on this one, which is the top. We're going to double click there, and that's going to say, in all caps, Lions Club of Mississippi. And that's all we need. And next we're going to click on this bottom title here, which is this one. We're going to double click, and Mike Flint. It's all caps, M-I-K-E-F-L-Y-N-T. And that's really all there is to it. Now when you click out of this area of grouping, watch what happens. It snaps back into a group. Now if we do the audition playback, watch what happens. I'm going to hit the space bar, boom, and there it goes. executive director. There we go. Now watch what happens as it gets near the end of this. It's, boom, going to fade out. And the only other thing I want to do is go over here to transitions and get the fade transition, which is right here, and drag it onto that joint. So there we go. Now I'm going to hit Control Home, or just the home. I guess it's not working, is it? You know, if you double click on a clip, the playhead goes to the beginning of that clip. All right, now we're going to hit play. Excellent. Executive director. And that's about as long as we want it to do. And now it fades in like that. And that's how you add an intro. A very similar way to operate you can do with your lower thirds, you can do with your outro, and you can do with many of the other items in the library furnished with Camtasia. That's all we got.